We received the first question from Dung Nguyen. Short-term deposit for related party increased by 2.5 trillion in the fourth quarter, and long-term deposit also increased in the fourth quarter. And please elaborate on those two. So the short-term deposit, including deposit for shop house units in Vũ Yên and Bắc Luân projects. So these two projects are quite sizable. One have, we have acquired around 1,000 units in Vũ Yên project and about 200 units in Bắc Luân project in Móng Cái. And we also run we build the tenant mix and also implementing the leasing activities for the shop houses there with the expectation to, so in the past, we only received the commissions from doing so. And with these transactions, we expect to recognize the revenue and profit from this project as well. And the gross margin, it's also quite good, as evidenced by the project that we've done in the past. The second question also from Zoom. Vincom Retail has lost some market share in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City in the past year. How do you see the impact of competition risk from other players in this area? We're not sure why you think that. Can you let us know why you think that we lost market share? Because, we're the only one who launched a new malls in Ho Chi Minh City, which account for about 30% of the total supply, in last year. So we don't think that we were losing the market share. But of course, I think, the case of, the launching of Lotte, new malls. So I think, then we draw some traffic in the area. But so I think the competition here will be, during the week, because the locations of Vincom shopping malls is right the podium or the basement of, the high-rise towers in mixed-use Vinhomes development. So during the week, we'll certainly have the traffic who are the residents in those areas. And, in the weekend, now we, of course, the traffic will be shared, to the new malls area as well. So I think that's quite normal, in cities like Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. So in order to compete, I think we recognize that the trend, which the customer is buying today is that our mega mall tend to focus on the family and young couples where, we upgrade the tenant mix to include more F&B offerings. So I think in one of the slides, we also introduced that, there are a number of new tenants that we bring into Vietnam for the first time. So that won't have to increase the attractiveness of Vincom malls compared to others. The next question, please provide some details about property segment plan in 2025 and 2026. So the unveiled backlog for the Dong Ha Quang Tri project by the end of the fourth quarter was 187 billion dong, and we expect to deliver the rest, that amount in 2025. And for our pipeline, we have shared during the presentation upon acquiring the commercial components in the two projects. We expect to start selling in 2025, and the first batch of delivery will be in 2026. The next question is from Zoom. Can you share what is the margin outlook for the leasing business in 2025, I think in 2025, we expect the leasing business to come back to the double-digit growth trajectory because, as you can see, that the occupancy had increased in the third and the fourth quarter in 2024, and that will, the revenue generated from the increased occupancy in the second half of last year will be reflected for the full 12 months in 2025. That's one factor. The second factor is that, we plan to increase the occupancy by about 3 to 4%. At least, I think, coming from our initiative to infuse more like F&B tenants, especially to the Vincom Plaza areas, as we think that we can see that, that's one of the categories that's doing very well in city and provinces. So people in provinces now also start going to the malls more often, especially during weekend for family gathering. So, these two factors combined will result in a strong increase in occupancy in 2025. And, another factor is that we expect the average rent to increase by, another single digit. So if it was around 1 to 2% in 2024, we expect that to be like 4 to 5% in 2025, seeing what we have done in the second half of 2024. So, when the revenue increase and we can maintain a similar cost base compared to 2025, we don't foresee any, increase in terms of energy costs as we experienced in 2024. So far, we don't think that the EVN is going to increase, electricity price. So I think with a similar cost base and, as we can increase the revenue in 2025, the margin will be expanded. And we're targeting the leasing NOI margin of over 70% in 2025. Yeah, the next question from Tu. What is the outlook for leasing NOI margin in 2025? I've just answered Dung in my previous answer. We're targeting to be over 70% in 2025, thanks to the increase in occupancy and rent, as I mentioned. The next question from Tu. For which projects were the new deposit disbursement of 4.6 trillion in the fourth quarter 2024 is? So in the fourth quarter, we deposited 3.2 trillion relating to the new malls, especially one that we're going to open in 2025. So most of the capex in 2025, which amounted to over $100 million, has been deposited to Vingroup and Vinhomes to complete. And the remainder of around 1.3 trillion is related to the shop house projects. The next question from Ming. Please share the shop house delivery target for 2025. As I mentioned, the two new projects will be launched in the later part of 2025. So we don't expect to have revenue from these two projects yet. So the revenue from shop house delivery in 2025 will be around 180 to 190 billion dong, which is the remaining items or units from the Đông Hà Quảng Trị project. We have the next question from Đức Anh. Traditional shops on High Street have been more vacant recently, and do you see as a challenging environment or a structural shift to a more modern retail landscape? So we have shared this a few times in the past. Houses on traditional streets have limitation in terms of space and parking lots. So they cannot welcome, big brands. So let's imagine a brand like Uniqlo, when they come into the mall, they demand the size of at least around 3,000 square meter. So there are only a few options on high street that can meet the demand for such big brands. So that's why they cannot attract like big or financially viable tenants to come to lease their houses. So I think you're right that there is a shift towards more modern retail like shopping malls in Vietnam. The next question from Huyền. Please remind us about the reason why the occupancy in the fourth quarter was lower than the full year results. So I think we presented on the slide as well. I think occupancy in the fourth quarter also increased on a Q-on-Q basis, continue the trends that we see from the third quarter. But on a year-on-year basis, it was lower because the lower occupancy in the first half of this year because there are certain tenants that withdraw from our system because due to difficulties they faced during the COVID time. We start improving in the second half of this year. The next question from Chang. What is the reason for the decline in FY 2024 NOI margin? So it's mainly attributed to the provision for bad debt relating to a number of tenants in the entertainment sectors. So that during the COVID time, they have to close their stores. So tenants in the hospitality and entertainment was severely impacted after COVID, and they went bankrupt, and which resulted in a bad debt, which amounted to 240 billion in 2024. So that's the main reason why the NOI margin was lower. So if we exclude that provision, NOI margin was around 73%, which is around 1% lower than last year, which was mainly because of the increase of 10% in energy costs. Because EVN, they increased the selling price of electricity in Vietnam twice in 2024, with total 10% increase in terms of price. In terms of volume, we also increased by a single digit as we open 5 new shopping malls. The next question is from Zhang. What is your expectation in terms of average occupancy rates in 2025? We expect that to be around 88% in 2025, 88 to 90% in 2025. Next question is from Zhang. You have planned to upgrade any more malls in 2025? Yes, we are doing the budgeting for 2025, and in our plan, we plan to upgrade the interior for Vincom Center, Dong Khoi, Bà Chiao, and Royal City, Time City, and a few more malls. Next question also from Zhang. What is the performance of tenants on a Q&Q basis in the Q4? What is the expectation for 2025? There are a few information we'd like to share. The first is the footfall in our shopping mall system in the second half of 2024 have increased by 17% compared to the first half of 2024. We see a much higher percentage of our tenants, renewing their contracts in the second half compared to the first half, showing signs that the retail market is really bouncing back. That's why we expect for the much better performance in 2025. I think across the categories, we're seeing most of our tenant sales in most categories have improved quite significantly by double digits in the second half of 2024. Next question from Zhang. Do you have any new brands coming to the malls in 2025? We're now finalizing the process, but I think the few names that we can share, including Lotte World Kids Playground or Awesome, they're going to open at least 10 stores in our system. Awesome is a very good beauty brand from Korea. Delicious, Single Hot Pot, Utah, or M Complex, or Aeon Beta Cinema. I think those are the few names that nearly the finalization process. The next question is from Nam. Can you share the revenue from revenue sharing part in an absolute number for both 2023 and 2024? In 2023, revenue sharing revenue was 1.018 trillion, which accounted for 20.01%. In 2024, it was 1.067 trillion, which accounted for 20.6%. We have next question from Zoom. How you see the tenant turnover outlook in the coming time? So I think in 2024, I think one of the reason why the occupancy didn't increase that much is because when VinFast they changed the strategy by collaborating with third-party agents. Some of the agents they closed down the showrooms in the shopping malls as they already have showrooms in that particular area. Right, so which resulted in a vacant space of around 40,000 square meter in 2024. So that one-off, we don't foresee any, one-off turnover like that in 2025. So the turnover in tenant turnover in 2024 was around 0.5%, and we expect that to be lower, even lower in 2025. The next question from Tâm. Please remind us the benefits that Vincom Retail will gain from making early deposit amount to Vingroup or Vingroup's affiliates. One of the biggest right that we have is we can acquire the completed asset at cost instead of purchasing at fair value as if we work with other third-party developers. So I think the difference is huge. I think if you compare a fair value of a shopping mall compared to the historical cost, because for historical cost is also it's just the development cost and taking into account the depreciation of the assets. Um, we have another next question from Zoom. Vincom Plaza looks to recover much slower than other formats, and tenant inside the malls not performing well. What's your plan to enhance the attractiveness of these malls? So we have talked to our major tenants, and we noticed that they do have plans to renovate their stores inside the malls in 2025. So in 2025, together with them, we also have plans to upgrade the facilities in the Vincom Plaza system. So, we have the case of renovating the Vincom Plaza Ba Thang Hai in Ho Chi Minh City, and we see the foot traffic has doubled, and also occupancy have increased by around 32 percentage points after renovation. So I think, in short, we're going to upgrade both tenant mix and and the facility or enhance the asset quality in our Vincom Plaza, starting with the best performing locations first. We're upgrading that, and we'll do gradually for other groups. The next question from Kong, please provide more detailed information and classification by projects regarding new deposit in Q4 to Vingroup and other related companies. What is the total investment for 3 new shopping malls in 2025? So total investment or CapEx relating to the 3 new malls in 2025 amounted to around $100 million, around 2.5 trillion dong. And half of that was relating to the Vincom Megamall Cổ Loa, which amounted to around 1.2 trillion. And the rest we deposited in Q4, including for Phú Yên, another 128 billion. And for other future pipeline projects, it's around 1.7 trillion.
Thank you, Anh Dương. We have now concluded the Q&A sessions. Thank you everyone again for joining us today. Should you have any clarifications, please send an email to us at ir@vincom.com.vn. We look forward to speaking with you again soon and wish you a happy and prosperous Lunar New Year. Take care and goodbye.